A man was kicked out of his local gun shop for being too poor to buy anything. But an hour later, an entire SEAL team showed up looking for him. What happened next was genius. The man's name was Frank, and he was a veteran who served in Iraq and Afghanistan. He had been kicked out of the store only an hour ago, and now here he was sitting outside, with his back against the wall, watching as every single member of his old SEAL team showed up in front of the store. He had known something was off when one of the owners of the gun shop, Chad, approached him while he was browsing through some of their most expensive sniper rifles. "You need to leave," Chad said to him with a look of disgust on his face. "I don't want someone like you wasting my time here. You can't afford any of our stuff anyway." Frank couldn't believe what he was hearing. This was the same shop that his entire SEAL team would visit whenever they were stateside. They had always received the red carpet treatment from the owner, even getting free stuff from time to time. But apparently things had changed since his last visit. "What did I do?" Frank asked. "I was just looking around." "That's exactly what I'm talking about," Chad snapped. "You think we have nothing better to do than entertain people who aren't going to buy anything? Get out before I call the cops." Frank stood up and walked towards the door, but not before he noticed a pair of eyes staring at him from behind the counter.
Oh.
It was one of the gun shop's employees, Marcus, who also happened to be Frank's former teammate, and the only person in the world he trusted more than his own reflection. Marcus looked away quickly as if he had done something wrong when Frank caught him staring. And for a moment, Frank was unsure if what he had seen was real or simply a figment of his sleep-deprived imagination. He shook his head, trying to clear it, and walked out of the store. As soon as he stepped outside, he pulled out his phone and dialed a number. "Hey, Marcus, it's me. Listen, I need your help with something."
Yes.
"I know this is probably going to sound crazy, but trust me, this is serious." "Okay, come to the parking lot of the Shooter's Den right now. Hurry up." After ending the call, Frank waited impatiently for his ride to arrive. In the distance, he could see a black SUV speeding towards him. As it got closer, he could make out the faces of the men inside. His heart skipped a beat as he realized who they were. It was his entire SEAL team, all of them looking back at him with puzzled expressions on their faces. "What the hell is going on here, Frank? Why did you call us?" "I told you guys to get over here ASAP," Frank replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "But what's going on? Why are we even here?" "Just get in the car, please," Frank said, his tone firm but respectful. "I'll explain everything once we get to a safe place." The team members exchanged suspicious glances, but ultimately decided to trust their instincts and Frank's judgment. They all piled into the SUV, and Frank directed the driver to take them to a secluded spot away from prying ears. Once they arrived, Frank wasted no time in filling his teammates in on what had transpired at the gun shop. "I couldn't believe it myself," he said, shaking his head in disbelief. "I mean, I get that we're broke, but surely they could have just been a little more discreet about it. Disrespecting one of our own like that, I won't stand for it," boomed a voice from the back of the SUV. It was their leader, a man known only as Big Red. "We may be broke, but we're still a team, and nobody messes with the team." A murmur of agreement rippled through the group. Might be scattered and without a mission, but they were still a tight-knit unit bound by their experiences and their brotherhood. "So what's the plan, Big Red?" asked one of the team members, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. "How do you suggest we teach these guys a lesson they won't forget?" "I think it's time we paid a little visit to that gun shop," Big Red said with a dangerous smile creeping onto his face. "I have a feeling they're going to be in for a big surprise." An hour earlier, Chad and his father, Wayne, the actual owner of the shop, were counting the day's earnings when they heard the bell above the door ring. They looked up to see a group of men in civilian clothes standing in front of the counter. There was something about their posture and the way they carried themselves that set off alarm bells in Chad's head. "Can I help you guys with anything?" he asked cautiously. "Yeah, I'm looking for someone," said one of the men, his eyes scanning the shop. "Do you know a Frank here?" "Frank, huh?" Chad said, trying to remember. "Yeah, he was here earlier today asking a bunch of questions about sniper rifles. Do you know where I can find him?" Chad felt a surge of anger mixed with fear. He recognized the description of the man, and his gut told him that these guys were just looking for a friend. "He's not here anymore," Chad said, trying to keep his voice steady. "He left about an hour ago." "Oh, really?" The man's eyes narrowed. "And just how long has your shop been open for?" "What do you want, man? If you're going to rob us, just get it over with," Chad snapped. He watched in horror as the man's face contorted into a menacing grin. "Don't worry, buddy," the man said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "We're not here to rob you. We're here to pay you a little visit." The men slowly started to surround the counter, trapping Chad and his father between themselves and the door. "What do you want?" Wayne asked, his voice trembling slightly. "Just tell me and I'll give it to you." "Oh no, Wayne," the man said with a shake of his head. "This isn't about money. This is about respect. Or maybe it's about to become a lesson in survival." At that moment, Marcus stepped forward, his face grim. "Where is he?" "I already told you. He's gone," Chad stammered. "I swear I didn't know he was coming here. He just showed up, asked some questions and left." Marcus took a step closer, his eyes boring into Chad's. "Are you sure? It's because we have reason to believe that you kicked him out because of who he is, not because he left on his own accord." Chad swallowed hard, his throat dry with fear. I don't know what you're talking about." "If you want to talk to him, then you should go to his house. But I warn you, you'd better be careful. He's a tough guy and he's got a lot of friends." Marcus nodded, his expression unreadable. "Thanks for the info, Chad. I appreciate it." He turned to the others and said, "All right, let's go pay Frank a little visit. But I'll drive. Let's go." With that, they all piled into the SUV and sped off towards Frank's house. "Thanks, guys," Frank said, smiling for the first time since he'd been kicked out of the shop. "You guys didn't have to come all this way, just because of some jerk at a gun shop." "Don't mention it, bro," Marcus said, returning the smile. "Besides, we had a feeling Chad wouldn't be able to handle the truth. But we'll let him tell you all about it." And with that, they all shared a laugh as they recounted the tale of their run-in with Chad. And his father, knowing that it was a story they'd be telling for years to come,